Hello, folks. Welcome to the Harrison Show. I'm Brian Harrison, and that's right. Today, if you haven't read our thumbnail, or at least the title, you won't be probably reading the thumbnail, but the title, it is called Men and Women. I was going to do men versus women, but I don't think that's appropriate. I would say man and women because of what I'm talking about today. Why do I want to talk about men and women? Well, because I keep feeling a little frustrated that society will either put up one or the other. Right now, it seems like a big deal to put up women, except it's not going as well. But, it's a big deal to have like all these feminists and all this, you know, all this other stuff that's almost unnecessary, self-destructive. And the reason why I wanted to bring up men and women is because women and men, we have our strengths. Men, women and men, we both have our strengths. And that's why, like, you see when men and women work together, things get accomplished. They're better. There's that woman feminist side, and then there's that manly side. When you bring those two things together, you are better. And that's right. We're better together. Together, we are better. And I don't know where I've heard that from, but I love it, and I'm going to use it. Because the fact of the matter is there's truth. There's both good and bad. I've seen a lot of even women who they would claim is more of a man's crime to do certain things, like what some people will do with kids is now becoming a woman thing. You'll see women get caught in these stings and stuff too for against crimes against children. So, and there are many women who should not be mothers and parents. But that being said, there's also how do we come back and heal from the from a point of putting one sex above another because one sex thinks they've been abused more than the other, which unfortunately I told a friend of mine, and actually I didn't get any disagreements for it, that I'm sorry to say women had a lot more power than they do now in a lot of ways. They have a lot more power now, not necessarily because a lot of that power is evil, but they had a lot more power. Like your mother would say something to you, if you, especially a good mother, and you're like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. Okay, so I mean, women had more power than they think they realize, but now it's almost like this ultimate power. It's like a different type of power. But anyone who has ultimate power over another person doesn't always go out so well. We need to learn from that because history says it very plainly. Very plainly, there are many women who are good, but there are some of the women were just like men. They weren't as good leaders, or they weren't as good. They just weren't. And so, and that's just human society. But when we put our strengths together, like men have great strengths. One of the great strengths I think men have is the capability of being able to focus on a task and get it well done. That's why um, there are many great men who build things, do things, and we tend to do things very well. But it's just like where a man will build a house, for instance. He'll put he'll put his building skills to work. He'll build that beautiful home, and then a woman will come along and decorate it because she will add finesse to something that he built, even though it's a very nice house. She will put pictures, she will put things that make it feel like a real home, whether it's pictures of you and your family, or you and your woman, whatever. That's what can happen. Um, Now that's a generalization of stuff. Sometimes men and women they switch a little bit, like where I tend to be the one that knows where things is. I tend to like even if it's in front of my woman's face, I have to pick it up and show her where it is. Whereas she tends to be like what men tend to be, and that is she can see it in front of her face and not exactly know that it's there. So so there are slight differences that can happen, but the general rule, and even then, I'm still good at being, I can focus on a task and get it done. I still can do that. I also have some multitasking and stuff, which I can be very good at. My woman knows that. I can listen to several conversations, um, and I can tell my woman what this conversation is about, what's going on, and I just that's how I've always been. Part of it could be the past, with being abused by my parents, my birth parents, and stuff like that. So, but men and women have strengths. We all do. And I feel like, then why am I talking about this? Well, the problem is I just feel frustrated at the fact of the matter that we're not waking up. If we're enlightened species, we're not enlightened because we push one sex above the other. When we're enlightened is when we come together, and not if we're talking about enlightenment, or we're talking about, and I don't believe in a whole enlightenment thing completely. What I do believe in is God. There is a God, and He gave us, He put us here on for a reason. And it's when we work together, when we actually come together, instead of trying to say one is better than the other, because it's not. I just We're not. I've seen plenty of men that shouldn't be in charge. I've seen plenty of women who shouldn't be in charge. But I've also seen plenty of men who can be in charge, who care about the people that is under them, and who can take care of people, and who have no bias. You get the job done. Men. That's another thing men can be good at, is delegating tasks to people who um know they can know what they're worth, and know what that they can actually get the job done. So there are women that can do that too. There are great women who are great bosses, who care, who know how to get a job done, who, they're just like they're great men cooks, they're great women cooks. I've met all kinds of, a lot of the cooks I personally knew were women, but they were women who had no problem. These were strong women. They had a job, but they also knew how to take care of their family. You know, um, is it it, is it said in a perfect world, it would be said that men and women could really do well. I think sometimes we create our own imperfect world. We try to go, oh, the world's unfair, and it is. But sometimes we make it worse, and we make it unfair, and then we complain about it. It's just we're crazy. We're just crazy, but we can do great things together. And I don't know how long I want to spend on this, because it just bothers me that there are very beautiful people in the world, very beautiful men and women, and we get caught up in ourself. We get caught up in what we want to do, and then that's not even horrible what we want to do, because that can vary. Like there could be beautiful things coming from beautiful different people. I've seen that on YouTube. You just watch YouTube long enough, you start and you look at some of the things that some people can do, and there's some beautiful things. But there's also the horrible things that we do, and it's just kind of sad that I wonder, sometimes you wonder when there'll be a movement where we get tired and we say, okay, let's rethink this. Let's come together. Let's bring both together, because together we are better, and better we are together, which I agree with that statement. Whoever came up with it, I agree with it, because that is the truth. Because when you see good relationships, like even relationships with men and women working together, for instance, not just in the workplace, but in relationships, they're stronger. If you have a strong man and woman in that family, especially for kids, those kids grow up better, 10 times better. I wish I had that. I wish in some ways I did once I got taken away from the bad home. I could see it was peaceful. There wasn't like chaos constantly. There wasn't. There doesn't mean there weren't times like emergencies or things that happen, but it's that constant chaos that can destroy you. If you don't have a way to go away from it. But there wasn't constant chaos. There was a lot of fun that went on. Camping, for instance. I went camping. Um, I went. We did things like watch. We watched some videos. Even though unfortunately, I came when I went. Even though this family was a lot better, and they were better. They were very good people. They were just very conservative, and so I question the only thing I questioned was that. But I do think that they did what they knew how, and they were really trying to live their best life. And I think that's what really saddens me is that this world promotes people who should not be leaders, people, women and men who should not be in charge, just because they say they are, or just because, you know, it's just it's sad. So what I guess what we always maintain is um, try to be better for your, try to make yourself better, and that means be respectful to others. Um, even try to make your life you know, live the best you can. Be a good person. You know, um, respect others, and if you want change, no matter what sex you are, man or woman, be change. And not, I'm not saying, saying, well, let's say you're a leader already. Um, be the change. Do things differently if you aren't. Do things in a way that respects that people want to come and work for where you're working, or people want to be around you. Not saying you're not perfect. That's not. It's not talking about that. There's a difference. There's a difference. It's like I there's a difference between being perfect and not perfect, I guess. It would be, one of them would be, but you know you're a jerk and you just don't care. Then the other one is you make mistakes as a leader or as someone who is, leading, whether you're a man or a woman. Like I said, there's many good both from both. There are even, I've even seen where if you have a couple who own a store and they care about their employees or they care about each other, and it shows, and their people work better. They have more of a work quality. They do better. And it's just part of health. People do better when their mental state is better, especially when they work for a place that actually cares and actually knows how to create good leaders. And it's hard to find. I'm sorry to say, it's really hard to find. If your workplace is that way, or you can work with men and women and you're doing very well, that's great. But it's just hard to say. It's just kind of frustrating because I've been listening to these YouTube videos where it seems like both, like, especially women who are out of control, who think that that oh that they bash men and think they're just so better, and then they're crying on TikTok or whatever, or even TikTok, which flows over into YouTube because people are laughing about what they're doing. Um, but they'll complain um, about, oh, how my life is so horrible. Why, just why me? And you can tell it's so sad. You can tell you did it to yourself. Why don't you figure out a way to work with someone? And it's hard to say because we all have our little views, and we all have our, it doesn't mean we can't work together, but we all have our views, and we all have our little, like, take and give things, and it can be kind of a sad situation, and you just have to come self-realize. It's self-realization where you kind of come and say, hey, what can I do to be a better person? Yeah, in the moment, that person may not be a very nice person, but what can I do to be a better person? You know, and yeah, and focus to make myself better and be a better person for the planet, or well, not for the planet, sorry, but for the planet, um, as in how I treat people, how I respect them, but how they also, hopefully, how they'll respect me. But I can at least do my part and be the best I can. Not going to be perfect, but be the best I can. Um, so anyway, I just, I that's all I have to say, really. I mean, I was just hoping that was just my viewpoints and thoughts. Um, no, everybody is going to have their own viewpoints and thoughts, but it's just, I feel like there are good times where you see it and you're just like, yes, this is amazing, great. You see when you really see a good happy family. Um, that like, hey, everybody seems to be in love, and I know not everything's as it seems, but at least at times there can be good, and even within so-called good people, they're not perfect. They just chose a different path. There's a difference between being perfect and perfect. One is you think you're perfect, and everybody around you is ditching you, and obviously you're not. You just have this self, like narcissism, or where you're perfect but you're not. It doesn't mean you're actually do everything eloquently or very perfectly. It just means that when you make a mistake, you make it right, and you do perfect things. Maybe you make that good casserole that everybody loves and it works, or you help, you know, do the right thing in fixing a kid's problem, or like, or you stand for, hey, this is not, you stand against people who are abusive, or I mean, you actually do the right thing, versus you think you do the right thing, and you think of yourself too highly. So there, like I said, there will be two types of perfect: people who think they are, and people who actually strive to be. They're not, but they're almost better perfect because they're not trying to say I'm perfect, I'm perfect. They're just showing by example and trying to live the best and knowing that they aren't. But that means that there's always room for improvement upon their character, upon who they are. And that's what I think as men and women, we're better. We are better together when we come together, when we work together, when we fight for each other, and we fight to better the planet, and we fight. And better the planet can mean a lot of things. It doesn't mean like, oh, we go green and we're gonna go psychotic, and that's what I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about going psychotic. I'm talking about where we actually have real solutions to real problems, and we really do come together. And I think when we come together again as men and women, that we can wake up and realize that we do the best we can, and as time comes on, we take our time. We actually make things better, and we do the right thing because doing the right thing actually matters. And that is respectful to people, because as long as we live on this planet, there's always going to be men and women. And when you wipe out one or the other, that's when us as a species could easily die by just wiping each other out. God doesn't even have to, whether you believe in God or not, God doesn't even have to wipe us out. We do it to ourselves half the time. Like it says God causes all these things and stuff. I do believe God does things, but half the time we're our own problem. God looks at us like, hey, guys, you know, you said you could do better. We just were crazy at times. But when we cut through the crazy and wake up and realize we need each other. If we don't come together, eventually bad things happen, and eventually it's horrible. Eventually, we destroy each other, and that's what it comes down to. Where we and it's sad. It's a sad situation, you know. So anyway, I want to thank you for watching today's program. Thank you very much for watching the show. In spite of who I am, I'm not perfect, and I'm not. But I enjoy doing videos. It gives me something to do while I'm on disability, and stuff like that. I was born with disabilities, but I still feel like, hey, I have a little bit to offer, and I'm going to do something I enjoy doing. I do enjoy doing this. I enjoy making videos, playing video games. I enjoy having fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed. And also, that's another thing. Even with men and women, we are better when we're doing things. So even if you're on disability, I may do something more later on that. Um, if we do things, we grow together. It is better for our mental state. I think a lot of things can be healed, not everything, but a lot of things can be healed somewhat by our mental state when we're working together and when we're enjoying and doing things because we love doing them and we can have fun. But there's things we do have to actually do, but those things can be pleasant when we're actually doing those things. But anyway, I want to remind you, please don't forget to comment and subscribe and leave a like on the video and hit the bell notification. I usually say this at the beginning, but I guess today I'm saying it here at the end. And if you made it through the video, and I want to thank you very much for watching. If you want to make a comment, it's great. Freedom of speech is awesome. So leave a comment, and if you're on Rumble, we're also on Rumble. Don't forget to follow us there and hit the thumbs up and comment and all that good stuff. So I want to thank you. Please remember, we are all better together as men and women. And remember, God bless you. Until next time, bye for now.